My name is Jessie Ace. I'm part of a group of ENabled Warriors that you've probably never heard of. We're fighting back against our invisible illness and taking the dis out of disability. We don't give sympathy to our symptoms. They enable us to be the warrior that we are. If you ask doctors and nurses, they'd say what we're doing is impossible. But pushing the limits of our conditions is something that we have to break through every single day. So we push the limits. We are mentally strong, and we can do anything. The question is, how far can we push those limits? This podcast will give you the answers. I'm Jessie Ace, and this is the Disabled to Enabled podcast. Hey Enabled Warriors, welcome back to part 3. We are here with today's guest to find out their super quick secrets that, to be honest, never really that quick, are they? We like to have a chat about them. Okay, Enabled Warriors, we've talked about some heavy stuff in some previous episodes, so let's have a little bit of fun and show what is still possible after a diagnosis or accident. This is the part of the show where we find out a little bit more about the personality of our guest with some not so super quick secrets. Are you ready for this? Okay, so are we ready? Let's do this. What is the most inspiring book that you've ever read?
I think the most inspiring book that I've read recently would be Michelle Obama's Becoming.
Ooh, love her.
Yeah, I love her. I just think that she's like a beacon of light for so many people, and perhaps women and girls in particular, and about owning your own voice and being your own person and kind of having a seat at the table, so to speak. I thought that her story was so inspiring.
She's lovely, isn't she? She's just like such the most like down to earth person. I think you could.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Her dad has MS as well, so that's probably given her
a
bit of a different perspective on life. So interesting. I need to go get her book. I've not checked that out yet. Okay, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever done?
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking that I'm so boring because it's anything particularly weird. Other than there has been so many situations around medical tests or medical procedures that I'm sitting there going, this is so weird. Like, how is this happening? Like, what's going on? And yeah, that's definitely been weird. There's been some funny ones, like a sleep study. I've had 3 sleep studies, and if
they're weird
know,
themselves.
They're very weird because you get plastered from head to toe in like electrodes, so you have dozens of wires like stuck to your head and your shoulders and your chest and your legs, and I remember looking in the mirror after they'd put them on and thinking, oh my goodness. And then trying to sleep with,
I was gonna say, how did you manage to sleep? Because
you kind of just have to lie there on your back and not move. That's a weird one. And knowing that you're being videoed as well, that you're being filmed, that's definitely a weird one.
Wow, that's like the most. I'd say that's probably the most stressful kind of sleep you could do.
Exactly.
What is the most amazing place that you have ever visited?
Well, I've been very lucky that I've visited a few, so I'm going to give 3.
Okay.
The pyramids in Egypt.
Yes.
Quite a long time ago now, but that was definitely amazing because we've all seen so many photos and videos of the pyramids. I think it's something that you learn about when you're really young. So being there and going inside one of them, that was definitely something I'll never forget. And then Venice, I love Venice. I've been lucky to go a few times, and that's just so beautiful and so unlike anywhere else I've ever been. And Petra in Jordan, I was lucky to go to as well, and that's really stunning, and I'm so glad that I went there with my family when I was younger.
Oh, beautiful. They are the most amazing places, for sure.
Yeah.
I really want to go to Egypt. Like from when I was little, I was like obsessed with Egypt. As soon as I learned all about it, I was like hieroglyphics, love it. Like mummification. Oh my gosh, it was just awesome.
Valley of the Kings, I was trying to remember it. The Valley of the Kings we went to as well. That was that was an amazing experience.
Awesome. So what was it like to actually go inside those pyramids? Did it feel quite eerie and weird? Or?
It did a little bit. It's very hot. No, bits of it were really hot and bits of it were really cold.
Oh,
And they're really narrow. So it's like kind of little passageways, I suppose, into the pyramid. And yeah, it's quite confined. Definitely not one if you are claustrophobic. But it was quite almost surreal to be inside a pyramid. Yeah.
yeah, I can imagine. I mean, can you imagine what it would be like to have like the mummy in there and like all these jars and stuff?
Yeah, I didn't see a mummy, unfortunately.
Oh, that's disappointing. That's so cool though. That's awesome. I need to go there. Okay, what is the scariest thing that you've ever done?
The scariest thing that I've done recently was to go to, when I say recently, obviously that was before quarantine.
The apocalypse.
Yeah. Was to go up to the Sky Garden in London because I have, with vestibular migraine for myself, and I know many other people have it, heights do strange things to my head, so I can get quite dizzy and my legs turn to jelly and I get quite anxious, and I really wanted to overcome that fear. So we went up to the Sky Garden. I think it's around the 43rd floor, so it's quite high, and that was quite scary. Just even being in the lift was a bit nerve-wracking, but I'm really glad that I did it. The views over the Thames and London were stunning, but yeah, so glad I sort of plucked up the courage to do it.
Yes, definitely. I mean, having that view of London would just be enough in itself, I think. That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's so cool. So is that like an actual garden, or is that the restaurant?
It's yeah, there's restaurants and cafes, and then there's kind of garden areas as well, and then there's a viewing platform, which was actually closed the day that I went because it was too windy. But it's kind of glass all around it, so you can see all around from every angle across London.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
it's a really nice place, yeah.
That's incredible. So the last time I went to London, I went on the London Eye. And when you're right at the top of the London Eye and the things are kind of shaking, you just go like, oh my God. But it's nice.
I was really young when I went to the London Eye, but I remember being a bit nervous.
It is a nerve-wracking thing. It's scary up there. Oh my goodness. So, okay, where can other warriors find out more about you and what you do?
So I think the platform that I use the most is Instagram. So I'm at through the Fibro Fog with a full stop in between each of the words. That's where I'm most active. I post quite a lot. And then also on Twitter through Fibro Fog, and on Facebook through the Fibro Fog as well. And then in terms of the low histamine side, the food side, I have an Instagram account called Low Histamine Kitchen, and then a Facebook group of the same name, and then my blog as well.
Awesome. You have your book as well.
Yes.
What's your book, quick?
It's called Living Well with Fibromyalgia, and it just came out in paperback last week. So it's an ebook and a paperback book, and I wrote it at the beginning of lockdown, so to speak. But it was kind of everything that had been in my head for months or years even, and I kind of just finally got it all down on paper. And yeah, I'm really excited that it's out and published, and I just hope that it's really helpful for people.
That's so cool. So does that like document your journey, or is that kind of like tips for living well? Or
both. There's quite a long chapter in the beginning that's my journey and how I navigated it all and how it all kind of panned out and came about. And then there's a section on health professionals, and I was very fortunate that a qualified physiotherapist worked on me with that chapter, and a qualified occupational therapist worked on that chapter with me. And then there's a section on managing medical care and appointments. So just day-to-day tips that I wish I'd known, like what to take to an appointment with me. Like I hadn't, which paperwork, and silly things like making sure you have some sunglasses if you've got a bad headache that day, like put some sunglasses in your bag. And then the final section is on lifestyle measures. So all kinds of things that you can try out, trial and error of what might work for you, whether it's meditation or gratitude or like finding community. There's a whole chapter on, you know, reaching out to people and feeling less alone, and all the different websites and resources that you could access that would help you feel more supported and hopefully find some friends as well.
Oh, that sounds brilliant. That sounds so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I've added the link to that in the show notes as well, everybody. So you can go and check out the book, go and get it on Amazon. So exciting. Yay! Thank you so much for coming on the show today, lovely. We've learned so much from you. It's been amazing. And warriors listening, if you've enjoyed this episode and you want to win $100, then leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts and tell us what you like best. We'll choose one review at random each month to win $100. And after you've left your review, remember, click that subscribe button. And remember, warriors, stay enabled. Thanks so much, Claire. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Enabled Warriors, do you want to win a copy of the Enabled Warrior Symptom Tracker book for free? The Symptom Tracker book will allow you to track your symptoms, instantly spot triggers, and get the best care possible from your doctors. Dr. Gretchen Hawley from the MS Link said it was brilliant for those with chronic illnesses to give their doctors more accurate information. Recalling these nuggets of information can be a game changer in receiving the best care for you and your symptoms. Inside the book, you'll find everything that you need to live your best life with chronic illness. Have you ever sat in an appointment and couldn't recall when your symptoms started, how long they lasted, the date of your first relapse, how long you've been on medication? Oh, me too. It's so annoying. That's why I made these pages in the book to help with this. Do you want to find out what foods are triggering your symptoms? Great, that's in the book too. Do you wish that you could wake up feeling positive and energetic every single day? The daily sheets in this book will help you do just that. Enter the giveaway by going to www.mybookgiveaway.com and enter your details through the message on Facebook Messenger that will pop up. If you are impatient and you want one now, then go get your Enabled Warrior Tracker book from www.enabledwarriors.org/book. Both of the links are in the show notes, so go and click them there. And get in control of your chronic illness today and start living the life you deserve. Stay enabled, warriors. Warriors listening, if you've enjoyed this episode and you want to win $100, leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell us what you liked best. We'll choose one review at random each month to win $100, and after you've left your review, remember, go and click that subscribe button. Are you ready to fight back against your chronic illness and go from being disabled to enabled? Do you want to be an enabled warrior, someone who's brave, strong, and confident, and someone who's ready to find a way to achieve awesome things despite a diagnosis? This is your invitation. Check out DISabledtoENabled.com for articles and reviews to find out how you can become enabled too. Subscribe to the podcast to always be in the know. If you think this podcast is better than sleeping in on a Sunday, tickle that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. And make sure to share this episode with someone who needs some inspiration. Want to ask your questions to future guests? Make sure to join our Enabled Warriors tribe on Facebook and look out for our question posts. Before we go, check out DISabledtoENabled on Instagram for posts that tell it like it is. And remember, warriors, stay enabled.